We arrive together here, travellers on life's journey, seekers of meaning, of love, of healing, of justice and truth. The journey is long, and joy and woe accompany us at every step. None is born that does not die. None feels pleasure that does not also feel pain. Numerous are our origins, our paths and destinations, and yet happily our ways have joined together here today. Spirit of life, God of all love, may our joining be a blessing. May it bring comfort to those who are in pain. May it bring hope to those who despair. May it bring peace to those who tremble in fear, and may it bring wisdom and guidance for all our journeys. And though this joining may be for just a brief moment in time, this moment is all we can ever be certain of. So may we embrace this and every precious moment of our lives. With these words, welcome all who have joined together for our Sunday service this morning. Welcome to those of you who are in person here at Essex Church. Welcome to everyone joining us via Zoom from far and wide. Particular welcome to Glasgow Unitarians who are with us this morning. And also to anyone who's watching this service at a later date via the podcast or the YouTube stream. For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Jane Blackall and I am Minister with Kensington Unitarians. The service today is titled The Tasks of Life. Now this might be a bit self-indulgent, but the reason I chose this theme in particular this week is, as some of you know, I'm going to turn 50 on Tuesday, which puts me roughly in the middle of the age range of this congregation. So I thought it'd be good to ask a selection of members and friends of this congregation from across this wide age range, from 30-somethings to 80-somethings, to share their own personal reflections on what life looks like from their current viewpoint, their viewpoint on life's journey. We hold these congregational services from time to time because we know that everybody's got some wisdom to share. Whatever their age or their stage of life, we all gain insight and experience as we go along, as we do our best to play whatever hand life has dealt us. So I hope this morning's service will serve as an invitation for us all to reflect on how our priorities, our values and our sense of purpose might shift over the decades as we learn and grow along the way. But before we go any further, let's do as we always do. Let's light our chalice flame. This is a little moment for us to stop, to take a breath, to really arrive. And it's a ritual that connects us with Unitarians and Unitarian Universalists the world over. It reminds us of this historic, progressive religious tradition of which this gathering is part. We light this chalice today as a people dedicated to personal growth and lifelong development. May it burn away the oppressions we have been taught and glow instead with the humility of learning. May it reignite our dreams for a better world and kindle our joy for simple, compassionate living. And may its warmth extend out into the forgotten alleyways of exclusion and bring us home to love, to welcoming, and to all the challenges, questions and blessings of this beautiful path to becoming a beloved community. Time to sing. We've got some fantastic hymns this morning. Our first one is on your hymn sheet if you're in the building. The words will be up on screen if you're at home. Life's Great Gifts. Feel free to stand or sit as you prefer, but let's sing up. Life's Great Gifts.
Oh
So let's take all of those joys and concerns, both spoken and unspoken, into an extended time of prayer and reflection now. This is based on some words from Lynn Cox. You might want to adjust your position to get more comfortable. You might want to put down anything you don't need to be holding. There might be a posture that helps you to feel more prayerful and centred. Whatever helps you to get into the right state of body and mind, to be present to yourself, to each other, and to that which lies within us and beyond us. Spirit of life, God of all love, in whom we live and move and have our being, we turn our full attention to you, the light within and without, as we tune into the depths of this life and the greater wisdom to which and through which we are all intimately connected. Be with us now as we allow ourselves to drop into the silence and the stillness at the very centre of our being. We come together this morning and every Sunday morning as we each continue on our unique path through this life, joining to remember and reaffirm our commitment to our highest values and the greater good. Grant us the courage to continue on the journey, the courage to act and speak for the well-being of others and of ourselves, and of this planet that we share. May we forgive ourselves and each other when our courage and our care falls short, and may we resolve to try again in love. Grant us hearts to love boldly, to embody our faith and our values each day in living words and deeds. May our hearts open to embrace humility, grace, and reconciliation. Grant us the ability to learn and grow, to let the spirit of love and truth work its transformation upon us and within us. Grant us the spirit of radical hospitality, the willingness to sustain a dwelling place for the holy that resides in all being. And grant us a sense of being at peace in this world, even as we are in perpetual motion, tossed and turned by life's tempests. Let us cultivate together the strength to welcome every kind of gift life brings our way, and all manner of ways to be on this journey together. And let us take a few quiet moments now to look inward, to get in touch with what's really going on, what's happening beneath the surface of our lives this morning. Let us notice what we're carrying, what's troubling us, what questions we are faced with, what hopes we nurture. And from that place of realness, let's silently and inwardly ask for what we most need. Don't worry too much about who or what it is you're asking. Maybe it's God. Maybe you're casting it out into the universe. Even if you are the only one to hear your prayer, be clear on what it is you need right now. And let us also be sure to give thanks for all we already have. Let us look back on the week and recall all those moments, be they large or small, moments of kindness or generosity, moments of joy, and take the time inwardly to savour those gifts, to connect with gratitude and take in the good. And let us turn outwards, shifting our attention to the world around us, from those who are closest to our hearts, to neighbours and strangers, and our wider community as it stretches ever outward, connected to every living being we share this planet with. Let us hold them all in love. Spirit of life, God of all love, as this time of prayer draws to a close, we offer up our joys and our concerns, our hopes and our fears, our beauty and our brokenness, and we call on you for insight, healing and renewal. As we look forward now to the coming week, help us to live well each day and be our best selves, using our unique gifts in the service of love, justice and peace. Amen. Time to sing again now. Our next hymn is number 193 in the Purple Book. We Laugh, We Cry. It's an old favourite, but it is rather long, so gather all your stamina. You might want to stay seated for this one. We laugh, we cry.
Thank I turned 33 about 2 months ago, and what an achievement that is for me. I spent my teenage years and my young adult years so depressed that I thought I would never grow old. Although I feel lonely sometimes, these days my priority is to spend time with people I love, and especially my godson and my nieces. My mom passed away at 55, and I struggle imagining myself past that age. I guess I still wrestle with picturing what future me will look like. Besides, the world is a scary place these days, and I can't envision what the world will look like in 5 years. So I do what I've always done in the dark times. I find a way to keep going. I'm often reminded of a 2017 video by American author John Green. In the video, he is in Venice with his wife and enjoying it. He also recounts being in Venice before and being miserable because of mental and physical health issues. He concludes the video with these few sentences. And I was reminded that how you feel at your worst is not how you're always going to feel. I mean, sure, the world is going to end and Venice will sink into the sea, but not yet. Sitting in the piazza, drinking unconscionably expensive espresso, I was reminded that the world is what it is, but the world is also what you bring to it and who you share it with.
It's hard for me to think about my experience of my stage of life as typical enough to include here because of my long COVID. Conditions like mine are described as aging, both physically but also experientially. My mother, who has ME, regularly says she's been living like I'm 80 since I was 40. I got COVID 5 years ago next month, when I was 29. So while my experience of being in my mid-30s has been one of slowing down and settling into myself, I can't tell how much of that is because I got sick, so was forced to slow down, or because I got used to being sick and have settled into my disabled identity. But that feeling of settling does seem to be shared with some of my peers. My friends who are the same age as I are all settling in different ways, into adulthood, into careers, into ourselves. Some of us are doing the traditional things, having children, buying and decorating first homes, but a lot of us are going through transformations there are fewer stories about. We're getting diagnoses for conditions we've always had, including ADHD and autism. We're going to therapy. We're transitioning across or between genders. We're getting divorced. We're retraining, surprisingly often as therapists. It seems as though we're all figuring out who we really want to be, or who we've always been and are finally able to move towards, either because we're now living with enough security to be able to, or simply because, as we've settled into adulthood, we've realised how long an inauthentic life would be. We're matching our outsides as much as possible to our insides, so we can get on with living our lives.
It's easy to lose sense of that feeling of effervescence and optimism that was ever so present in my 20s and 30s. I'm 41 and I'm child-free. I really appreciate the sense of freedom this gives me. Recently entering this new decade of my life, I especially feel the notion of time speeding by, hurtling past and not waiting for me to catch up. And that petrifies me. So what I feel is important in this next phase of life is to use that sense of freedom wisely, to choose to live in an intentional way and to be intentional with my time and my habits, to not fritter away my time. Easier said than done for a chronic procrastinator and coaster like me. It can often feel like a daily struggle. I have to keep reminding myself that I have the capacity, the agency, through my habits and actions to cultivate fruits in my life. It's never too late to hold on to a sense of possibility. There's still room to experience that sense of effervescence and optimism. Separately from that, I often think of a quote by Maya Angelou. She said, "I've learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel." Her words help me to be mindful of my way of being around others, how I leave them feeling, and how I'd like to be remembered by them. The impact it's possible to leave on people's lives. I just can't shake that notion from my head. To me, it's the ultimate motto to guide me in how I live out my life. As I endeavour to live my life leaving a loving and meaningful imprint, I acknowledge I can't do it without the sustained practice of working on myself. I need to continually do the work, practicing self-love and striving to bring compassion inwards. I've come to realise is so vital in all of this. Again, this is something that I just find so difficult. The loving kindness I hope to radiate is the same loving kindness I really need to show myself.
Hello. Most of you won't know me very well yet. I'm Jasmine, I'm 39, I'm queer, I'm widowed, I'm autistic, I'm a psychotherapist and a poet, and I live with my mum, who I look after, if look after means keep her supplied with cake and return her online purchases. I am not where lots of people expect you to be in your late 30s. I don't have a house, I can't drive, I don't have a partner or children. When my late partner died 7 years ago, I was flung off that trajectory. I landed in a place with no map. For years, I tried to get back onto the same road by pursuing relationships obsessively and blindly, but that exhausted me. And right now I'm sitting in the dirt again, looking up and around. The world doesn't look the way it did when I was a child. The future is so much more uncertain. How do you dream now? Actually, I'm expert at dreaming. What's harder is letting go of dreams and opening one's mind to the idea of walking an uncharted path. I wonder what my heart can irrigate other than just the heart of one other person. Where can I still share of myself? How can I nurture the world another way, an older way perhaps, the way of the village? And what if I didn't have to do everything by myself, as I've always done, but holding hands with others? What if we walked the dark together? I'm grateful for the medicinal and imperfect beauty of nature, which I'm getting to know with the wonder of a child who didn't know there was so much beyond her housing estate, and of the comfort of God, who has only recently shown up in my life. I was brought up to strive for answers. I'm making more room now for the questions to hang in the air.
Jane's engagement groups have encouraged me to aspire towards a new self-description, the empowered, discerning conformist. To be less troubled by the natural ability to have adapted myself to pretty much whatever environment I'm found in. To embrace my unsettling capacity, unsettling for me at least, and so a capacity I don't always choose to foster, to fit in to a wide variety of settings, to be less concerned about holding my broadly mainstream views and my not particularly progressive outlook on life, acknowledging perhaps that these tendencies in themselves, and when held by someone who happens to be me, are not inevitably complicit in causing harm or disadvantage to another. Rather, by continuing to propel myself away from the center to what I perceive to be the edge, perhaps all I'm doing is encroaching on ground more comfortably held in trust by someone else. Time to get out of their way, to get out of my way, to relax and position myself midstream, to maximize the opportunity simply to go with the flow. And if I do succeed in transforming myself into an empowered, discerning conformist, what might my beloved, courageous, progressive, non-conformist friends think about me then? Perhaps, look, here comes Rajan, predictably following the path of least resistance. Good for him. But what might they say? How might this new me be received? Probably like the previous version, and similar to whenever I appear at one of Jane's engagement groups, with a warm smile, a cheery wave, and a resolutely welcoming, "Hi, Rajan."
Thank you, Rajan, Jasmine, Chloe, Lochlann, and Charlotte. More to come. So we're moving into a time of meditation now. And to take us into the stillness, I'm going to share a poem. There's a little copy in your order of service if you're in the church. You might want to look at it later rather than now. You can just let it wash over you for now. By Pablo Neruda. It's titled Ode to Age. And if you're joining online, it's on the church website along with the rest of the service text. The words will take us into a few minutes of shared silence, which will end with the sound of a bell. And then we're going to hear some more music for meditation. So let's each do what we need to do to get comfortable once again. You might want to get your feet flat on the floor to ground and steady yourself. You might want to close your eyes. The words, they're just an offering. Feel free to use this time to meditate in your own way. I don't believe in age. All old people carry in their eyes a child, and children at times observe us with the eyes of wise ancients. Shall we measure life in meters or kilometers or months? How far since you were born? How long must you wander until, like all men, instead of walking on its surface, we rest below the earth? To the man, to the woman, to the one who utilized their energies, goodness, strength, anger, love, tenderness, to those who truly alive flowered and in their sensuality matured, let us not apply the measure of a time that may be something else. A mineral mantle, a solar bird, a flower, something maybe, but not a measure. Time, metal or bird, long petiolate flower, stretch through a man's life, shower him with blossoms and with bright water or hidden sun. I proclaim you road, not shroud, a pristine ladder with treads of air, a suit lovingly renewed through spring times around the world. Now, time, I roll you up. I deposit you in my bait box, and I am off to fish with your long line, the fishes of the dawn.
Morning. Happy birthday, Jane. When I was much younger, I read about the Hindu teachings that said that life can be divided into 4 stages. And this is much abbreviated. The first stage is student, the second, householder, the third, detachment, and the fourth, renunciation. As I've now reached 75 years old, I am aware that my life expectancy requires me to at least consider the 4th stage, because I don't think I'll make 100. I might add that there are many, many things that I am unwilling to renounce. But I hope I have learnt a few useful lessons which may help me navigate my remaining days. And here are a few of my current tasks of life. Remain curious and question everything. Unitarians encourage exploration of the dynamic between the rational and the intuitive. As a scientist, my preference is to explore philosophy rather than theology, but I am currently enjoying exploring a rabbit hole called panpsychism. That's one for you. Words are wonderful things, but I have found such joy and solace as I get older from music, both as listener and as singer. And also painting purely for pleasure has been a revelation to me. And of course, the beauty of nature is ever present. There are many ways I can be of service, but I realize that after a lifetime of problem solving, I now prefer to just do the washing up and put things away. Kindness can be cultivated. My inner critic can be very noisy at times in terms of what I should be doing for my family, my friends, communities, and for the world. But I've learned, mostly after periods of significant pain, that if I start by being kind to myself, the right action soon becomes clear. Keep moving and yet be still. Having struggled with my feelings of loss recently, I'm so grateful I can still stretch, walk, cycle, and swim. All these activities make it so much easier to be still and accept feelings that I usually suppress. And I finish with this quote from Elizabeth Kubler-Ross. It is only when we truly know and understand that we have a limited time on earth and that we have no way of knowing when our time is up, that we begin to live each day to the fullest, as if it were the only one we had.
Looking back, I realise I have stopped doing many things I used to enjoy. I haven't driven for 10 years. 5 years ago, I accepted that I would never again take my mates backpacking along Brittany's beautiful cliff tops. And 2 years ago, the boats had to go. As I move forward, I'm sure there will be other things to let go of, but so far, there have always been new things to embrace. And now, for the first time in my life, I belong to a church where I can be myself and not pretend to believe things I just can't believe. And these days, I have the time to study the things I really care about. And at present, I still have the energy to act on what I find. And perhaps, most importantly, I can still work with the kids at Literacy Pirates, where I am by far the oldest crewmate there. The little girls are so impressed with my age that they treat me like a fragile flower. And anybody who knows me knows that's not what I am. And their pleasure in touching my face has made me really proud of my wrinkles. I know that the time ahead could be short. In 5 years' time, I shall be 90, and that does seem old. Until now, my life has been, in the main, fulfilling and a happy one. And of course, I would not be being honest if I pretended I was not a little afraid of what the future holds. But one thing I'm not afraid of is dying. I would just like to be able to continue to live well and be my best self.
Two people who know me have said in recent years, and this is crucial, quite independently, Brian, you are an innocent. Dictionary definition, guileless, ingenuous, naive. I've lived a very privileged and easy life compared to nearly all humans who have existed. And from that viewpoint, I probably am an innocent, never having to face the evils that are all too apparent in life. How does life look as an innocent from my 9th decade now, with statistics indicating that I will die within the next 7 years or so? It looks challenging. I'm no nearer answering the question, what's the meaning, what's all this living about, than I was 65 years ago when I first started thinking about it. Time has shown me that life gets more complex, more wonderful and confusing the more you experience it. But I hope that if I keep plugging away in the time left, things might get clearer. I also realize that in order to have had the life I've had, I have been a contributor to the problems that we now know will be facing future generations. And that in the time left to me, I must do whatever I can to mitigate this situation, even though my actions may seem small and insignificant. As I walk the last miles home, I shall sing quietly to myself words from a popular song, or once a popular song. Accentuate the positive, eliminate the negative.
Now, Sarah is going to read my contribution to Jane's well-being for years to come.
What I learned after the rigours of midlife for you, dear Jane. Becoming aware that I'm definitely getting older starts for many of us with some kind of physical diminishment. This initiates another major developmental stage with its tasks and possibilities for new learning. I want to share with you what made this stage, against all the odds and fears, fruitful, exciting in a persistently inviting way that is often joyous, with, through, and in spite of serious demands to accept and adjust. You know, my eyes. What helped most, apart from my friends, was a rigorous practice of trying to be in this present and avoid future gazing. Then friends taught me to faithfully assume that whatever came was my personal curriculum for ongoing unfolding, specially designed by my heavenly therapist. So I try to direct awareness and gratitude to everything I can still do, everything that has been gifted to me. The big challenge came with my eyes demanding to break my culturally conditioned attachment to those illusions of autonomy, my desire to control, my pride in individual capacity. You all know what we mean. Instead now, I perennially work on actually feeling that I belong, that I'm safe in being a tiny part in the interdependent universe that safely holds us all. I practice trusting that whatever comes is the next bit of my curriculum. No resistance. The most transformative experience is to ask for help, and it always comes when I ask. Owning and articulating my need is the key that opened a new world of benevolence. I didn't know it before because I didn't ask for help. With really knowing that giving and receiving is doing what evolution equipped us for. Something like that complementary collaboration between a mother and her baby. Everybody wins in this world of kindness. And this feeds my trust that whatever comes will open new doors of understanding, myself and others. My world has changed with my sight loss. Gratitude for all the connection in my worlds of experience comes to the rescue. I hope I'll finally learn to be patient and retain my passion for life in all its complex dimensions. And I hope that these reflections resonate with you, dear Jane. It's good to give to you from whom I receive so much. Thank you. Right, I hope I can do myself as well. And I need to warn you all now, we're running a bit over time. And if you're somebody who's got places to go and people to see, well, just get out there and get on with your life. You can always read my words of wisdom online. They'll be there for all time. Where are we? So I thank you to Michaela for your words of wisdom and to the other 8 people at varied ages and stages of life who've contributed to this service. Aren't these perspectives fascinating to hear? And to be honest, I'd really enjoy hearing what these contributions have sparked off in everyone else's minds. So if you're listening at home, here in person, tuning into this service sometime in the future, get in touch. Tell us what's current for you in your particular phase of life. What does life seemingly require of you at this stage? What learnings have you picked up along the way? I talked to some friends about this week's theme of tasks of life, all a similar age to me or older, 70s and beyond. And one person set us off first into laughter and then into deep philosophical waters when they described how much time they have to spend these days simply trying to stop body parts from falling off or failing to function. Eyes, teeth, ears, hair, nails, and other parts too gory to mention. Someone remembered the first verse of Pam Ayres's vital poem, "Oh, I wish I'd looked after me teeth and spotted the perils beneath. All the toffees I chewed and the sweet sticky food, oh, I wish I'd looked after me teeth." For people of a certain age, it's worth reading the whole poem. It may be too late to save all our teeth, but the poem includes a memory-inducing list of sweets we used to enjoy. Gobstoppers, licorice, all sorts, sherbet, dib-dabs. It's a rare person at my stage of life that isn't having to give some time and attention and often financial investment to bodies. If we're not careful, these concerns can dominate conversations. Dear Michaela, you always make me laugh when you describe these ailment conversations as organ recitals. I agree, we need to talk about our bodies, but ideally not all the time. And of course, it's not just bodies that fall apart. My mind is not as reliable as I once thought it to be. My memory is variable. It can be unnerving to realize that my thinking and reasoning can be shaky these days. Like many of us, I'm trying to keep mental decline at bay with my daily language practice on Duolingo, with Sudoku and crosswords, trying very hard to speak a whole sentence rather than starting it enthusiastically and confidently and then tailing off halfway through. And I'm long used to arriving in a room completely having forgotten why I headed in that direction, but I'm easily distracted and there's always cleaning you can do. Now, of course, there are many Buddhist teachings about impermanence, and they're holding a special message for me in life now. The Buddha taught that everything in the material realm falls apart. It's the nature of things to disintegrate, to cease to be. And that includes bodies, minds, families, friendships, intimate relationships, even church congregations and church buildings, political parties, causes dear to our hearts, all heading in the same direction. At present, I still have some capacity to put some things back together again. Yet I also know that amidst the task of repair lies the task of acceptance. Acceptance that all cannot be mended, repaired, or healed. But while I still have some of my faculties, I hope I can at times still be useful to others. Even in this modern society, the concept of an elder still holds some value. And I so appreciate the younger people in my life who'll occasionally ask for advice and allow me then a glimpse into their world. And of course, these intergenerational relationships, they flow both ways. How can I possibly convey my gratitude to the next generations, the ones who can press buttons and do services from their phones and make TVs and church sound and recording systems work, seemingly just like that? Magic. I'm starting to feel the vulnerability that comes to many of us, that aching, disorienting sense of not knowing. And it can be scary, that ineptness and uncertainty. But just occasionally, I get another perspective on my current stage of life that's almost exhilarating. If I'm not, then fill in the gap. If I'm not my profession, if I'm not my family position, my particular skills and interests, even my character and usual way of being in the world, well, then what? I find Buddhist monk and writer Pema Chodron a great inspiration. And she writes, when things start to fall apart in your life, you feel as if your whole world is crumbling. But actually, it's your fixed identity that's crumbling, and that's cause for celebration and putting the bunting out. Nothing lasts, I keep being taught. And sometimes that understanding makes life seem so very sweet indeed. The Buddha's last words from his deathbed to his followers were, "Things fall apart. Tread with care. Tread the path with care." A great reminder for me of impermanence. Nothing lasts. Be mindful of it all. Tread with care. Appreciate every little detail, each sensation, each beauty, along with each pain. Nothing lasts, so enjoy it all with a passion, with a heart full of love and the deepest compassion for all of us who are doing our best to hold it all together and put one foot in front of another, knowing that both we and the path and all we encounter along our life's journey are deliciously temporary, giddily out of our control, all falling apart, but sometimes dancing along in great good company with one another, laughing and crying together as we go. Amen. And I do believe we get to sing now one last hymn, which apparently is a new favourite in here. And let's enjoy The Church Where Love Lives. On your sheets.
Wonderful. Just a few announcements then. I know we're running long, but it was full of goodies, wasn't it? Thanks to Ramona for tech hosting. Thanks to Sherry for co-hosting. Thanks to everyone who offered their wise reflections for today's service. What a thoughtful bunch you are. Thanks to Tara, Jess and Phoebe for wonderful music. Thanks to George for accompanying our hymns with all the gusto we've come to expect. Thanks to Benji for supporting our singing. Thank you to... Who ended up greeting? John and Patricia did arm wrestling for the honour of greeting and then did it together anyway. And thanks to Julia for doing the coffee. If you're here in person, please do stay behind. And you can stay all afternoon if you like for these rolling birthday festivities. There'll be coffee hour, then our tea dance from 1 till 3, and then some further birthday hangouts with just more cake than you can possibly imagine. I did bring some little doggy bags, so you can take some away. I'm about to go on holiday. I'll be off for the next 3 weeks, but lots of lovely people are filling in various ways. You can come to the poetry group with Brian on Wednesday night. Let him know if you're planning to come. You can come to Heart and Soul online on Friday. Jennifer Sanders is covering on Friday, so let her know if you want to come. Next week, Stephanie Bisbee from Doncaster Unitarians will be leading the service titled What Are We Called To? And we've got the Better World Book Club coming up at the end of the month. That's on reading lessons by Carol Atherton. I think we've loaned out all the copies, but if you're struggling to get one, let me know and we'll see what we can do. Take away your order of service, a copy of the newsletter, or you can sign up for the Friday email if you want to know all the things we're getting up to in the coming weeks, because this congregation very much has a life beyond Sunday mornings. We encourage you to keep in touch, look out for one another, and do what you can to nurture all those supportive connections. So just some closing words and closing music. As we take our leave and face the week ahead, whatever it may bring, let us recall that there is finally only one thing required of us. That is to take life whole, the sunlight and the shadows together, to live the life that is given us with courage and humour and truth. We have such a little moment out of the vastness of time for all of our wondering and wandering, living and loving. Let there be no half-heartedness or aimless drifting. Let the soul be ardent in its yearning and its praise. And may peace enfold our days as we meet the week to come. Amen.